So I just came back from a trip through China and I took these candid photos near Westlake, Hangzhou. This entire army of uncles and grandpas were gathering in a park to watch Chinese chess. It's one of the most Chinese things ever. This tutorial is sponsored by Squarespace. In episode 23 of the Apothecary Diaries, Mao Mao challenged her estranged father, Lao Khan, to a game of Chinese chess, known as Xiangqi, and that's all the excuse I need for a Xiangqi tutorial. Why? Because I Want Checkmate is my favorite YouTube channel and I want to see him suffer in Chinese someday. In this video, we'll go over the rules of Xiangqi, then use that knowledge to dissect the match and story of the Apothecary Diaries, episode 23. If you only want the analysis, feel free to skip to part 3. Otherwise, sit tight as I present to you my culture. This is the chess scene in the Apothecary Diaries, explained. This is the Xiangqi board. Unlike chess and shogi, Xiangqi pieces sit on the line intersections. The board has 9 files and 10 ranks. With more space and fewer pawns, Xiangqi often feels faster paced than chess. In the middle of the board lies the river, and at the end are 2 palaces. These features affect some piece movements. I know this is a bit overwhelming, don't worry, it'll make sense soon. In Xiangqi, each player controls 16 pieces. Red usually goes first, followed by black. For this video, we'll use international icons for clarity, though traditional pieces are marked with Chinese characters. Unlike chess, which was a game of nobles and kings, Chinese chess was popular among commoners, so pieces aren't as ornate. Your most important piece is the general, the equivalent to the king in chess. But unlike kings, generals move only 1 square orthogonally, no diagonals, and also no adventures outside the palace. Thanks to these limitations, winning in Xiangqi is a lot easier than in chess. You don't need to chase the king all across Europe for a checkmate. To win, you need to trap the enemy general so that your opponent has no legal moves left. In other words, you can win by checkmate or stalemate. One quirky rule is that if 2 generals face each other along a file, one can capture the other. It's called the flying general rule. In practice, you cannot move into check, so the move is illegal. But it does mean you can use your general to trap your opponent, like this. Next to your general are 2 advisors. These are defensive pieces that can only move 1 space diagonally within the palace. Their entire purpose in life is to body block attacks. However, these clumsy bastards can often get in the way of your general. With how weak the general and the advisors are, I'm starting to think ancient China wasn't too fond of bureaucrats. Outside the palace are elephants. They are the reason why the game is called Xiangqi, meaning elephant chess. While elephants were rare in ancient China, or modern China for that matter, the piece came from Chaturanga, the ancient Indian board game. Chess also evolved from the same game, but the elephant became the bishop. Anyway, elephants move exactly 2 spaces diagonally. They cannot jump over pieces and cannot cross the river, making them another defensive piece. In real life, elephants are excellent swimmers. I guess ancient China really wasn't familiar with elephants. And that's all the defensive pieces. Let's take a break, grab a drink. We'll move on to offensive pieces in the next part. Hey, are you a soldier who's tired of being belittled? Are you an official who feels trapped and helpless? Are you an elephant who wants people to know you can actually swim? You need to speak up with a website from Squarespace. Social media isn't enough. It's full of lies, distractions, and people yelling in all caps. You need a professional website for your professional statement. Luckily with Squarespace, you can create a website with just your trunk and no fingers. That's because Squarespace has made the creative process simple and intuitive. You can pick a pre-made template for quick results or customize everything to your heart's content. Everything is done through your web browser. No plugin needed, no coding required. It's so simple, even a human can do it, let alone an elephant. Start a free trial at squarespace.com/accencinema. Use the code accencinema and you can get 10% off your first purchase. A big boy with a big soul needs a big showcase. Don't settle, aim for the best with Squarespace. Visit squarespace.com/accentthecinema and showcase yourself today. Alright, back to the game. Next up are the horses. Yes, horses, not knights, not cavalries, just plain old horsey. Let's be honest, chess players want to call them horsies too. I know you do. Horses move like knights, one step orthogonally, then one diagonally outward, all in one move. Unlike knights in chess, however, horses cannot jump over pieces. This means your horse can hop into a spot it can't hop back out of. They work best as flank units, not hiding behind other pieces. Sitting on the outer edge are chariots, the Chinese equivalent of rooks. And by equivalent, I mean identical. They move and capture any distance orthogonally without jumping over pieces. Since Xiangqi has no queen, chariots are the strongest piece. Standing up front are the cannons. Yes, freaking gunpowder weapons. Cannons also move like rooks, but to capture, they must jump over exactly one piece, called the cannon platform. The platform can belong to either player in any space between the cannon and the target. This mechanic lets cannons pin two pieces at once. It is incredibly powerful early on, but becomes less useful as the board empties. Finally, we have soldiers. They are basically pawns, but sadder. Soldiers can only move forward and never retreat. Once they cross the river, they gain the ability to move sideways. Unlike pawns, soldiers move and capture in the same way. There is no promotion. Once they reach the last rank, they can only shuffle side to side for eternity. Apparently, ancient China didn't think highly of its soldiers either. One last rule to mention is repetition. In Xiangqi, it is forbidden to repeatedly check your opponents or chase after the pieces. If you repeatedly check or chase, usually 3 to 6 times, the referee may call it a loss. 3-fold or 6-fold repetition only applies when neither player is checking or chasing, in which case it's a draw. And that, my friends, is everything you need to know to play Xiangqi. It sounds complicated, but it's much easier once you start playing. So go out there, give it a try, and did I forget something? Oh yeah, the Apothecary Diaries. Well, a bit of context first. Leading up to episode 23 of the anime, Mao Mao has discovered Lacan, a manipulative genius who abandoned her mother, is her father. To settle matters, Mao Mao challenges him to a best-of-5 game of Xiangqi. The loser must obey the winner's command. Before the game begins, Mao Mao adds a fun twist. After each loss, the loser has to drink a cup of wine. 3 of the 5 cups are poisoned, drink all 3, and you die. This girl is not right, I swear. Game 1 goes by in a flash. Lacan opens with a central cannon, a common aggressive opening. By the way, here black moves first. Today it's most common for red to go first, but historically both orders were used, so the enemy is not wrong. Mao Mao responds with pushing a cannon forward. This is a mistake. The cannon is exposed and it leaves the central soldier hanging. From here, black can take the soldier and starts exchanging pieces, putting Mao Mao at a disadvantage. The anime skips forward. Lacan takes Mao Mao's horse, checkmating her in the process. From these 2 shots, we can see that Lacan still has at least 4 soldiers standing. That means the game has ended quickly and Mao Mao didn't even attack. Except, that might have been the plan. You see, in the opening, Mao Mao seemed to want to centralize the cannon, which would be a decent move. But she hesitated, then made a mistake. So perhaps Mao Mao was intentionally blundering. In any case, Mao Mao drinks up and we move to game 2. This time we jump into the mid-game. Mao Mao's general is cornered and Lacan checks with his cannon. Mao Mao captures a chariot in return. Looks like a good move, right? Mao Mao takes the strongest piece. But then the other black chariot checks. With the flying general takes the center file, it is checkmate. In other words, the chariot was a trap set up by Lacan and Mao Mao fell right into it. is, as Jinxi suspects, Mao Mao knows the rules but not the strategy. By the way, she also pokes her pieces. Not sure what that is, but it's adorable. Game 3 begins. Mao Mao opens with a central cannon. I guess red moves first this time. And then, bam! Mao Mao lands a double cannon checkmate. The double cannon is one of the most basic checkmates in Xiangqi. It's a beginner's move, a noob strategy. It only worked because Lacan's general is trapped between two advisors. No real master would fall for that.
お情けでも勝ちは勝ちということでいいですね。
ああ、間違っても娘に毒を勧めるわけにはいかんからね。
And indeed, Lacan was losing on purpose. Confident, Lacan drinks up, knowing that if he drinks at least one cup of poison, Mao Mao would be safe and he can win the rest of the match. Unexpectedly, he immediately passes out drunk. Turns out, Mao Mao never planned to win. She knew Lacan would throw the game to spare her. It's why she blundered her very first move. She wanted to end things quickly. The Xiangqi match was a distraction. From here, the anime dives into Lacan's backstory. It turns out Lacan has prosopagnosia. He can recognize people by their faces. Growing up with Xiangqi and Go, he learned to see people as game pieces instead. He sees most people as pawns and ghost stones, essentially labeling them as basic bitches. His respected uncle then is a black chariot, the strongest piece in Xiangqi. In this entire world, there was only one person whose face he could recognize, a courtesan named Feng Xian. Over countless games of Go and Xiangqi, they fell in love. Eventually, he does encounter someone else whose face he can recognize, Mao Mao. In this shot from his perspective, we see Gao Shun and Jinxi represented as the red elephant and advisor. The red elephant, by the way, is written with a character meaning minister, but that's not the important part. What's important is that in every game, Lacan always plays black, even his clothing indicates that. So in this shot, he is staring into the opponent's side. He sees two defensive pieces guarding Mao Mao. That means Mao Mao is the red general. She's the piece he wants the most, but the flying general can also capture him directly. He labels Mao Mao as his equal. I find this little detail very moving.